We used you to destroy the village. Now, we really have no use for you no more. Your daddy ain't there. Your husband ain't there. Your son is raised wrong. Your daughter is watching you twerk. You have done what we wanted you to do well in destroying the village. The father of your child is probably in court with you over nothing.
I'm more scared for the women right now in the next 10 years than ever before, because if what is being predicted to happen in this country with this economy, and we're talking about survival of the fittest, we ain't even touched the survival of the fittest yet.
But let's be real. Corey Holcomb, and I actually do like Corey Holcomb, I think he just doesn't like women.
I will say he was talking a lot about women and the faults of women. And like, yeah, women fuck up. But like I said, the guys in the fraternities and the YNs, like there's a difference there. You know, even the first video when she was talking about, you know, the drug dealers and the type of people that, you know, she was around and dated, you know, that was a choice that she made. And sometimes people don't make those choices. Sometimes they do. But also, like, those men, you know, were they doing certain things to better their lives? Did they have the realization that she had? There are some people, men or women, that it just doesn't click for them. Or maybe they realize it's too late. And I feel like this is a collective experience that can happen for anybody.
It just seems like the conversations are usually like fear-based when it comes to from men. I'll say it's like you better prepare, you better prepare, you better prepare, you better prepare. I was saying prepare.
I know.
Thank you.
You
better prepare, you better prepare. And I feel like on the women's side, from her side, I feel like she's saying, hey, we've gone through so much shit that we aren't moving from fear. We're not moving from fear. We're moving kind of like from an abundance standpoint. So we're like, hey, we've been through more shit. We can take more shit than you guys are giving us. So that's why I think you guys are missing each other, because she's saying, where are these men? And he's saying, where are these women? Because they're not them. I think that's why you guys are missing each other, honestly.
Well, my good friend Jamie from the CEO of JP Morgan actually just announced recently that we should be stocking up on guns and ammo instead of Bitcoin, which is very insightful to what he predicts this country will become. And if this billionaire guy is telling you that shit's about to hit the fan, I think it's something that we should take into consideration. I'm not saying operate on fear, but I'm definitely saying take it into consideration.
Alan, but you want to know the ironic thing? Your perspective of 2008 is very different because of where you lived at that time. Everything that was happening in Florida, mind you, I lived in Florida in 2008. So everything that I was seeing in Florida, none of that happened in Houston. Not a one. Houston was prospering. Texas was prospering. So when I left Miami, because I've been telling my dad, like, hey, I don't like it here. I'm ready to come home. Like, my dad was like, cool, I'll pay your bills. So you know it wasn't bad if somebody said, oh, I'll pay my bills and your bills. The point that I'm making is that everybody's perspective about that recession is not the same. You got to think, the second largest state and one of the biggest ports, one of the biggest economies in this country did not feel what was felt, I assume, New York, Florida, California. And the thing is that the only reason I can understand what was going on is because I saw it, because I was living in Florida. They had high rises, empty. You know, I'm passing by $600,000-$700,000 houses going to work, foreclosure for sale, you know what I mean? And so I think I understand your position, but I also think that you have to understand that wasn't everybody's experience. And so when it comes to preparation, if ain't shit popping here, what am I preparing for?
One thing I will say is they do say that recessions are a good time to get rich or to, you know, capitalize on certain opportunities. And I will say Jupiter is about to move into Cancer within the coming week or so. And Jupiter is the planet of luck, abundance, opportunities, and it loves being in Cancer. This is where it can connect with, you know, real estate, with people, with being able to add more to things. You know, there's like a level of optimism. So even though things can be difficult, people can still make things happen and find like moments of opportunity. I will say, I do think that things are going to collectively get worse, especially in dating, because, you know, dating and families have definitely been a big hot topic for a while now. And when we
Thanks
look
to us, by the way, just got it.
I was going to say, when you look at America's chart, this is like everybody. Like, yes, you know, it's us, but like, you know, baby mama, baby daddy culture. I don't even like saying it, but like that culture does not discriminate. You know, it is everybody. It's our culture, and
It's American culture.
it is American culture. And one of the reasons why is Neptune, the planet of illusion, things not really being clear and tangible. That was moving through America's fourth house of families, of real estate. This is like a confusing energy. It's where, you know, the lines were like muddled. Things weren't really cohesive. And now that energy is moving into the sign of Aries, where it is now, but it's in America's fifth house, which is dating. You know, it's dating, it's sex, it's children. There are going to be people that are going to idealize certain things and rush into certain things. And I feel like we're going to kind of continue this trend. Of course, there's other factors as well. Chiron is an asteroid. It's also known as the wounded healer, but it can show difficulties, areas of hindrance. And we've been experiencing that in Aries for, I would say, since like 2018, 2019. So that's one of the reasons why there are, you know, these difficulties with, you know, families and dating and people being able to stay together and not to deal with instability within relationships. Uranus was also there. Uranus's sudden changes, you know, things getting erratic, unclear. And I would say America's been, you know, going through a lot when it comes to the realm of families and dating. I would say probably since like 2008-ish, probably like around that time, more or less. Neptune stays in the sign for about 7 years, and it's going to move back into Pisces for a couple months from September into February of next year. So we are going to experience some changes when it comes to dating. And I feel like people are going to find new ways to connect with each other. But I feel like there's going to be an increase of selfishness and also an increase of independence. Like people are going to realize, you know, I don't really need this, or I can get what I need out of dating and maybe leave the rest. And I feel like it's going to be like that for men and women. I would say I actually made a post on Instagram, and I predicted for Saturn moving into Aries, there's going to be more gender division. Saturn is obstacles, it's difficulty, it's challenges. And with that being in the realm of dating and sex, more people are going to be celibate. A lot of people might not notice this when it comes to Aries, but when it comes to Mars-ruled signs, which is Aries and Scorpio, Mars tends to rule over like celibacy, you know? The warrior uses his energy instead of depleting it through sex to continue to fight and to move forward and to survive. So a lot of people are going to start, you know, practicing more celibacy. And that was even a trend a couple years ago when it came to the North Node moving into Aries. We just had that leave. I think it was just this past January. It was there for about a year and a half. And that's when we realized the divide within relationships. So the South Node, what we're kind of moving away from, you know, relationships, partnerships, things that are self-sacrificial or things that don't make us feel good, but we're doing it because of the image or because of obligation. And a lot of people are moving towards independence when it comes to relationships. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of women, or just relationships in general, started to break up, because people are starting to realize, why am I really here? Do I actually want this? And I think that people are going to be more strategic when it comes to relationships and more mindful. But I would say if people aren't trying to become better partners or trying to really understand the person that they're trying to connect with, it's going to be difficult to find somebody.
And you said the key point. It's about being a better partner. And many of us, y'all have been able to get along in life without being a good partner.
I would say because of the obligation that women have felt. And, even when it came to conditioning,
Yep.
you're taught to be a woman, and a woman is to cook and clean and to do all these things. But women are starting to realize, maybe that's not what I really want in this lifetime. Maybe I want to pursue my dreams and my goals. And I would say most people collectively are going to be doing that. But I think that some people are going to realize that, maybe I don't want this ideal image of a relationship. Maybe I want to have my own experiences. And Pluto in Aquarius is going to be really transformative over the next 20 years because people are going to start choosing themselves and choosing their own paths and how they want to live their lives.
Have you ever taken the time to look at, I guess, what the alignment of the planets were during maybe like the 90s or the 80s? Like, have you ever went back in time and not like far
Yes
back,
and no, but yeah, for sure. And sometimes not sometimes,
like
but
maybe during the baby boom era was like that would be kind of insightful.
I can try to take a look now. I would say we actually are probably going to experience a baby boom this year with Jupiter moving into Cancer because this is birth. This is new things coming into fruition. This is going to be an influx of people wanting to have real estate, to settle their roots, to build, and to even have families. Of course, people are going to be going after the things that they care about, but people are also going to realize that they're going to, want to extend their families or to build and experience more than just themselves and just to have better connections. But I would say the astrology in the 90s and the 80s were very interesting. I would say the astrology in the 90s were really big when it came to things being built and coming into fruition. This is when, the internet was born. This is where people found different ways of connecting with each other. This is where people found different ways of being able to make money and to live in a world where you were only told that things had to be one way. And of course, land of the free, home of the brave. But we all kind of felt like there was a certain way of needing to live. And I would say the 90s really kind of set things apart where it's like, oh, I can be this or I can be that.
Yeah, Alan. So that's where we differ. 'Cause I was born then.
You wish.
I wish I was born in the 90s.
Well, you said 90s?
Yes, it was 90s.
Oh.
That's the square in your chart.
You said no, right?
That there's squares?
Yeah.
There's a square.
In mine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Squares aren't bad. I have squares.
Could the
Shouldn't he ask that?
could the epidemic of male loneliness be attached to what you were saying as far as the men preserving themselves for kind of like the long haul? Could that be attached in any way?
I would say
No.
I would say men might not be preserving themselves as much, but I feel like everybody is going to kind of preserve themselves or wanting to at least experience more independence. But I would say the male epidemic wouldn't really be because of that. I would say it might be because people wanting different things and maybe being more selective in dating and also wanting to really know what they're getting into. And I would also say people are going to be leaving situations more easily than they used to before. Sometimes people, way back when, they would have to stay in relationships that weren't good for them because of obligation or a need to have certain, luxuries in life or certain things, resources.
Yeah.
And now there's not really that much of a need to be bound to somebody because of those resources anymore, just because, women have more resources than they used to. And I feel like people are going to just be choosing more of what they want. And there will be a little bit of selfishness collectively. Like people are just going to be going after what they want and not really considering as much of what other people might want. But the selectiveness will help create families and situations that'll be built more to last instead of feeling like, okay, I'm going to be with this person, but like, I don't like it, but I don't know how to leave because of X, Y, and Z. People are going to be choosing who they want to be with and they're going to, be in the right partnerships, or at least if they aren't in the right partnerships, they're going to be more open to leaving than staying.
So essentially less settling.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you think there will be a transition into like more egalitarian relationships?
I would say relationships are going to start looking a little bit more,
Gray.
yeah. And I feel like that's kind of a natural transition, especially with the astrology that I mentioned. There's going to be like, more common law marriages. There's going to be more people finding different ways of committing to each other that might not be, legal, or just finding like legal, in the eyes of the law. But I think that people are going to realize that they can still have a partner without having to make things official in different ways.
Yeah, like a religious marriage instead of a legal marriage.
Yeah.
Do you think the world will lean towards more like one man, two women, poly?
I would say poly relationships definitely will happen, even on both ends. Like more women are going to be exploring more things, more men are going to be exploring more things. I feel like people aren't going to be under as much scrutiny as before because people are going to live in ways that are going to be more free. But the people that actually want a commitment, they'll have that commitment, or, that commitment can look different. Like it could be a polyamorous relationship with, one man, two women, or one woman and two men, like it can look so many different ways with whoever, whatever their jam is, whatever they want. But I do think that relationships are going to look different. And I'll be honest with you, it's interesting because I think that there was this random statistic that said that more people are going to be having sex with like robots and stuff.
People are having
me a
actual.
robot.
People are having
Yeah,
relationships.
people are getting robots.
People are having relationships with AI.
They are. They're having AI relationships, and they're breaking up with AI. And
Yo, my AI is disrespectful as fuck, bro. Or my chat GPT, I should say.
I want
hey, your AI.
Huh?
like a filthy robot. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Well, you'll probably be able to build your own robot.
That's enough
soon,
out of you.
You know? You'll be able to build your own robot.
Like, tie me up.
Hey, whatever I'm into, that robot gonna do.
You'll soon be able to build your own girlfriend. Build your own partner.
No, I do think that's really going to start happening soon.
So
like,
It sounds like what we know to be traditional relationships is just done.
it's not done.
It's not done.
It'll still
We're
be
still in
there.
the present.
Sure.
It'll still be there. It's just there's going to be more things that are going to be coming up that are going to be very different, but it's going to be what people are going to be looking into. And of course, there's going to be different kinds of markets for different kinds of things. Like these super realistic sex toys seem to be popular, So I think that people are going to find whatever they're looking for, and things are going to get a little bit more taboo. And what was once taboo was going to become accepted. So things, that's already been happening, but it's going to get pushed even further.
Mm-hmm.
But this is going to give people that want to be in relationships and having, solid ground to have that, and to also allow people that don't want that to not want it.
So here's my question.
Yeah.
With where things are heading, from a human standpoint and an astrology standpoint, plus the energies that be from a state to state perspective and a country perspective, is that going to conflict each other?
I would say there are going to be, people in different states that are going to be wanting to live different experiences. I feel like we've already been dealing with that, but I do feel like men and women are going to have more difficulty seeing eye to eye. I will say, if they do and they're willing to work on it, it will get better. But generally, it'll be more difficult to communicate and to really understand what the other wants or what they're looking for. It's been going on for a while now, but it's going to get harder for a while. For years, couple years.
Florida, we know has been kind of different from the rest of the world, right? And in terms of the people who are essentially trying to input new laws and whatnot, the government there. Mm-hmm. So my question essentially is do you know Florida's chart?
I don't know Florida's chart. I do know Miami's chart, but one thing I will say is that there are going to be more rules and regulations when it comes to like birth control and dating and things being maybe a little bit more difficult to either procreate or not procreate. It's going to be kind of like those opposite ends. And that's why people are probably going to be more celibate because of not having as many options. But I don't know Florida's chart.
Okay.
So I'm hearing dystopian.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, but yeah. I think that we've kind of been there and now it's going to be turned up. Things are definitely going to get a little bit more dystopian, more muddled. Reality and, life as we know it is definitely shifting for the better, but also there's going to be some crazy shit happening. So I think that people need to stay true to who they are and what they want and not get caught up in the shit. I mean, if they want to explore other things, but I do think that we are in a day and age and, even as time goes on, it's going to be so important to be grounded in what you want and your values and things of that nature.
I have a question that's completely off topic.
Yeah.
So do you think or believe that our parents could be like not in alignment with their children, or are they always in alignment to some degree?
I would say there are times where parents aren't in alignment with their children, and it can be seen in a chart. I've seen charts where, parents could be jealous of their children, or they could maybe not have wanted children, but they had a child anyway, so there could be some resentment. But I also have seen charts with people, having amazing relationships with their parents. The sun rules over, the father. Saturn is how you're disciplined, and the moon is the mother. And of course, this could be like maybe the more disciplinary parent or the more nurturing parent. The houses also correlate to that as well. And you can see how your relationship with your parents shape you as a person, as you continue to go about life through your chart.
I'm gonna send you my kids' charts. We like this though, but I'm gonna send it to you anyways.
I mean, you could definitely see like different themes. And also, like I said before, the planets continue to move and different things are being activated. So sometimes certain charts are being positively activated when it comes to a parent-child relationship. And you can see, maybe more traveling, more experiences, better connections. And sometimes there are some difficult, things that are being activated between a parent and a child.